What's up, everybody? We're getting straight to the point. We're not playing the commercial today. I have Slade with me. I have Sean Fowler, the final play on the Just Good Network. Week 7. Woo! Lot of surprises, guys. Well, first of all, how are y'all doing, man? How are y'all doing?
Doing fine. Good to be back.
Doing great. Good to be here.
Usually I'm not this happy on a Monday, but it's Motivational Monday. It was Manic Monday. But let's get to that big game in the NFC North. It was the Bengals defeating the Ravens 41-17. I'm shocked. Let me say my thoughts on this. I'm shocked because I thought the Ravens were going to win this game, maybe by 2 touchdowns. I thought it was going to be another statement by the Ravens saying, hey, we're the best team in the AFC. I thought Lamar Jackson would have dominated. That's what I was thinking. I thought Lamar was just going to take over in the fourth quarter. But we saw Joe Burrow make big-time play after big-time play. Jamar Chase. Hold up. I got to look at his stat line real quick for Jamar Chase. Just unreal for a rookie, man. 8 catches, 201 yards, a touchdown, 25 yards per catch on the road. NFC North, big game. I can't say enough about Joe Burrow, 23 for 38, over 400 yards passing, 3 touchdowns. Well, Mixon, he played his role. They had 2 running backs go over 50 yards total. Man, I don't know. Maybe I'm in the moment right now, but the Bengals impressed me with that road victory. I'm happy about that. Wow. They woke me up. If I was sleeping, that was my coffee. That slapped me right in the face. Seriously, this Bengals team, impressive. I'm not saying they're going to the Super Bowl, but that was a statement. Joe Burrow's like, hey, I'm here. It ain't just about the Lamar Jackson show. Stop talking about Ben Roethlisberger falling off the cliff and he should retire. The AFC North, we're here. We're in first place right now. That's just the facts. Slade, what's your thoughts on the Bengals improving to 5-2, beating the Ravens on the road?
You said it all. It all goes to the playmakers. I mean, but hats off to this organization. Hats off to that GM for having faith in himself. You know, everybody was dogging on him after that draft. Why do you not take Penei Sewell? Your quarterback just tore his ACL. That's your franchise guy, and you're drafting another wide receiver after you already have a pretty solid group. But Jamar Chase going out showing you exactly why he's the rookie of the year. I mean, we can stop the run right now. I mean, he is unbelievable. He is leading the league, kicking butt in every asset of the game and proving why he was worthy of being that top lottery pick and kind of, making a name for himself pretty early. And that connection is just already so dynamic. But also give some props to Zach Taylor, the head coach. I don't think he gives a lot of, praise for what he does. He does a good job of getting the ball into the hands of his playmakers and not overcomplicating it, but also being clever enough of how to get those guys open. Everybody knows by now what they're trying to do. They want the ball in the hands of guys like Jamar Chase. They want Joe Burrow out there spreading it around, and they know Joe Mixon is such a huge threat on the ground, and they still can't stop him. And that's whenever you know you have a great coordinator, but also great playmakers. But hats off to them. And that defense looking more and more competent each week, shutting down Lamar Jackson whenever we were all thinking he was starting to look invincible and we were praising his name, saying they were the top of the AFC. The Bengals came in and said, hey, we're up here too, and we're here to play. And, they're making a big name for themselves and for good reason.
Absolutely shocking result. Wow. Big-time victory. And you're right. Give credit to Zach Taylor. Doesn't get enough credit, actually. And people aren't talking about him enough. Maybe for already, it is still a little bit early, but maybe coach of the year. But we're going to be talking about the Cardinals. Maybe all the awards are going to go to your team, Slade. But, Sean, give me your reaction. For some reason, I'm thinking, and correct me if I'm wrong, you're a little bit disappointed in this Ravens team. Could have been another statement at home. But I don't know. Maybe I'm tripping. What's your reaction, Sean, to that statement win from the Bengals?
Yeah, well, anytime it's a division game, these two teams know each other. You can have the worst of records, but the only ones you get out of the season, it's against a divisional rival. No matter how good the Baltimore Ravens have been doing, the Cincinnati Bengals, like you guys said, they've been under the radar. They've been having some big wins. A big win about a month ago, Thursday Night Football against the Jacksonville Jaguars team. But still, it's a big win because it's prime time. It's in Cincinnati. They were down 14, came back and won that game. We've seen as well, obviously yesterday against Baltimore. And they were like some field goals missing, only a field goal missed away from beating the Green Bay Packers a couple weeks ago. So this team has definitely been resilient. They've been in, to fight all year long. I'll be honest, I wasn't that big on Joe Burrow. I felt like, him last season, I thought he played well, but, with the injury, I felt like people kind of overrate him a little bit, but he's kind of proving me wrong right now. Still threw for over 300 yards once again, I think 3 touchdowns or 4 actually. Jamar Chase is a monster. I was facing him on my fantasy team yesterday. It was disturbing. But Jamar Chase, again, he's, people were talking about him as well in the offseason, dropping some passes, but he didn't play all last year. And, hey, everybody drops passes. It happens to the best of us, as long as it happens in practice, and not the game. And people forgot about, that whole rumor or, that stint with him dropping passes in practice because he's catching touchdowns now. And he's definitely, I think he's the all-time leading receiver in NFL history in the first 7 games to have over, I think, receiving yards or something like that, receptions, receiving yards. But he's definitely been balling, man. And again, it's only 7 games through the season. They're 5-2. And again, the defense as well, give them credit. They shut down the Ravens to 17 points yesterday, I believe. Under 20 points, I believe. So, they played fast football. And Ravens look a little sluggish yesterday. They've been having some close victories as well. But at the same time, you got to give credit to Cincinnati. They're top of the AFC North as of right now. And I give them credit.
One thing I liked about Cincinnati, too, is how poised they were in the fourth quarter, outscoring the Ravens 14-0, closing out the game. I think what makes that game so special is just a game where you think the Ravens maybe 20-10, or a game that you'll see some of the younger players on the Bengals maybe fold, or maybe the moment is too big. It looked like the moment wasn't too big for the Bengals, and that's what I love to see. Also, the play calling, the running game, that being consistent with the running game, positive yards, that offensive line holding up. I thought they played well, controlling that Ravens defense. Look, I don't think anybody even thought that Cincinnati's defense would be able to, I wouldn't say contain completely Lamar Jackson, but we could say contain him in the fourth quarter. And I'm not going to lie, still shocked, but the Bengals, they're showing people that they're a team you have to worry about. And look, in the NFL, anything can happen. Things change. And a victory like this, when you look at just the beatdown they put on, because that was a beatdown. Let's just keep it real. That confidence moving forward for the Bengals, that's what I'm looking at. I think the Bengals now, they feel like maybe they're a top 3 team in the AFC. Before that, we were like, oh, it's a cute team. Joe Burrow throwing the ball all over the place, but maybe we can't take them seriously. Now I'm looking at them like, hold on one second. I'm like, hold on. This might be a team that's better than I expected them to be, man. I'm real pumped up for the Bengals fan base. Shoot, you would have thought I was a Bengals fan, as pumped up as I am today. But any last thoughts on the Bengals moving forward from either of you?
I like the way you said they kind of went out and surprised. We all were kind of like, man, they're really improving. Next year, they're really going to be a competing team. It's kind of what I was thinking. I was like, man, they're on the right track to success. This is kind of how you see the blueprint of teams working, especially young teams. But they kind of came out and said, hey, we're ready to play this year. We don't need to wait another year. So I like the way they're heading, and I think they're going to make some noise late in the season, especially with the trajectory of the AFC. What is going on? The Chiefs, where are they at? The Chargers just got blown out last week. The Ravens, they just got blown out. What the heck is going on with the AFC? It's up for grabs to me. It feels like the Bills, just lost the Tennessee Titans. It's anybody's game. I think they're still kind of separating themselves a little bit. But the Bengals, they're going to be ready to make some noise come playoff time. And I think they're going to make it interesting.
Yeah, we used to say Bell, Brown, and Ben, Triple B's, Triple J's, Jamar, Joe, and Lil Joe, and Joe Mixon as well. So, hey, AFC North rivals as well. Who dat? Who they? Look out for that.
Absolutely. Look, let's move on to trade rumors. Dolphins, should they trade for Watson? I'm just going to say this. If Watson's available, I don't want to talk on the situation. I don't know. Go either way. You feel me? I don't know. I'm not even trying to make a joke of it. But if Watson is cleared to play by next year, then I think you make the trade, because when I look at this Dolphins team and quarterback play has been a problem. Tua, the last couple weeks, he'll play well in spurts. He'll throw some dimes, but then you see a lot of passes that's probably going to get picked and it gets intercepted. Or you're the reason why this team, the morale's down a little bit, or why are you guys losing to the Jaguars? I think if you have a player the caliber of Deshaun Watson and you're able to get him on your roster, and I look at this Miami roster, this talent all over the place, I think if Deshaun Watson was on this squad, this team would be about 4-2 right now, in my opinion, because I think the Miami Dolphins offensive line, there's not a bad offensive line. I think that defense, even though at times they're not playing well, I think a lot of it has to do with the overall morale. Who's the leader in that locker room? And I think Deshaun Watson, if he could get clear of everything that he's being accused of, and he could put that behind him and focus just on football. He's a franchise quarterback. He's a quarterback who, in his young career, has proven that he could play big-time football. You saw everything he did on that Houston team that had no talent around him. There was no coaching. Deshaun Watson's the real deal. If he goes to Miami, Miami's a contender. Miami's going to be in the playoffs. So, to me, it's a no-brainer. Tua, not saying he's a bad player, but he needs to get better. Is it unfair for us to judge him just this early in his career? Not really, but when you see Herbert and Burrow performing at that level, that you just expect the same thing, right? From what was he picked third? He was picked third in the draft, picked over Herbert. So of course the fan base is gonna say, "What the heck? We should have went with Herbert." I see what Burrow's doing. Why aren't you doing any of this stuff? So yeah, it's a little bit unfair at times, but I don't know, man. I don't think Tua, the upside is there. I'm not a big fan of Tua's. The health thing scares me a little bit. He's kind of always injured. But again, does Miami really believe in Tua? I don't know. It doesn't seem like it because they've been flirting with this Houston Texans thing, and I don't like the whole sources thing either, but it seems like there's some truth to that because it doesn't seem like they're really denying it or saying Tua's our guy or he's our franchise quarterback. Yes, they picked him over Fitzpatrick, but they kind of had to do that. You got to get the young guy out there to see if he's worth a darn. Slade, let's start with you on this one. Should the Dolphins trade for Deshaun Watson?
I think you have to deal, especially when you're dealing with trades and dealing with the NFL, you're always worrying about the uncertainties. You're worrying about health. You're worrying about ability. Whenever it comes to Deshaun Watson, the only uncertainty left in his game is what is going to happen with all of his legal battles and what's going to happen with his inevitable suspension. So I think with that and uncertainty, you are going to get him for a lot cheaper price than you will after his suspension is over. I think that's kind of why he hasn't been touched quite yet and why he's having trouble being dealt. Everybody knows what he can do on the football field. We saw what he did with a mediocre, below average team in Houston. This is a way better roster in Miami. But that being said, it's not a good enough roster for Tua to continue to be just a game manager. We've heard the term game manager, and we've seen a lot of quarterbacks have success as a game manager in the NFL. And I'm not saying that Tua won't have success in the long term, maybe for somebody else or being a successful backup. But as far as being a game manager, that Miami roster is not there right now. They cannot win right now with Tua just simply being a game manager and doing just enough. They need that star quarterback like Deshaun Watson to take him up. That roster is good enough. With Deshaun Watson, they are going to be a real team. That's not a terrible division, to win right now. I mean, they do have the Bills, obviously, that they're going to have to compete against. But, you have the Patriots and the Jets. They can easily compete with those teams and kind of right now neck and neck with the Patriots, even without, that star quarterback level talent. But like you said, who's coming to defend Tua right now? Tua, we've been going at him for forever now, and everybody's kind of starting to go at him. Game manager, he can't make the big play. Where's the talent that we saw at Alabama? Was he just being uplifted by better players at Alabama and good coaching? Who knows? But right now, who's going to the mic to defend him? Because we've been saying, and we've been hearing all the rumors, we've been hearing everybody saying, trade for Deshaun, trade for Deshaun. It's in the works. It's in the works. Who's defending Tua? If Tua is your guy and you really believe in him, then you should be defending him. And if you're not defending him, I think that says a lot because they see more from an internal source than we do from the outside. We just get to see what happens on Sunday. They get to see what happens Monday through Saturday. So if their players are not going and openly defending him on the outside, that is scary, especially for Tua's confidence, but also from a fan standpoint. If you're looking at this guy that they just drafted, with a top 5 pick, like you just said, why are they not defending him? Are they not seeing the talent? Are they not seeing what they expected to see? And if you're not, then, you can't wait in the NFL. Pace moves too quickly. You won't have the same roster for forever. This defense is capable. You have the pieces. You have enough guys. You just got a good fast wide receiver on the outside. You have Will Fuller coming off of suspension. You're going to have to act quickly. And if, Deshaun Watson can be available next year, I think you pull the trigger and make the move because it all comes down to what it's going to cost you. And I think that they can get him for pretty cheap if that suspension is going to be pretty hefty.
Great point, Slade. Sean, he's your boy, Deshaun Watson. Man. We talk all the time how great of a player he is. Should the Dolphins pull the trigger?
I'm gonna say no right now, and I say no because I like what Slade said. It's the timing. For me, it's like, okay, do I want to get Deshaun Watson right now? We're 1-6. We're not gonna make the playoffs, and I'll be honest, Deshaun Watson, he hasn't been able, I believe, to even really, practice with the team. I know he was at OTAs at first, but then when I got to training camp and things like that, he hasn't really been able to practice and this and that. So, I'm sure he's in somewhat shape. I'm sure he's still working out and stuff, but I don't know if he makes a difference this year with this team. You know what I mean? I understand the division is definitely wrapped about the Buffalo Bills. We just talked about the last segment how thick the AFC is with teams. I don't know if inserting a Deshaun Watson this season, and he's not going to be there today, so it's another week that goes by or halfway through the season, is going to help them make the playoffs this year. It as well. Now, we heard all offseason as well, with Tua, Brian Flores sometimes saying, hey, we believe in him, we believe in this. And, of course, sometimes the coaches have to say that. Sometimes the coaches have to say those things, and, so you could just sweep it on the rug. You don't want to look disrespectful and to say, hey, if opportunity presents itself, it is what it is. Dang, I just got here last year. So it can kind of be unfair, but I would think if anything, I understand the risk of, if you don't get Deshaun Watson now, then you might not get him next year. I don't know. At the same time, it's like the reports we've been hearing is Carolina Panthers and the Miami Dolphins are the main ones. I'm sure other teams is under the radar is trying to talk, but at the same time, it's like if you still believe Tua can be that guy, I say just give him the rest of the season and see, because at least you get mostly a year and a half, 2 full seasons of Tua Tagovailoa. And let's not forget as well. This team went 10-6, and Tua was under center for out of the 16 games, maybe he played 11, 12. We'll get benched for Ryan Fitzpatrick when a game won a drive, which kind of seemed absurd. But at the same time, I just think go over the rest of the season with Tua and see exactly what you still have, what you feel like he can or can't do. And then potentially make that decision because I don't think Deshaun Watson is going to get signed within these next 2 weeks, to be honest. And I don't think if he were to get signed in the Miami Dolphins, they're all of a sudden a Super Bowl contending team this season. So I would say stick with Tua and see. I'm not the biggest Tua fan. I said this before. I think if Jalen Hurts gets the same amount of time, I think he'll be, given time before he was the starter. I think he's just as good as Tua. And, he has his moments here and there. But I think Tua – I think he's okay. He is around that game engine, quarterback. It's some things that left to be desired, but at the same time, I mean, this defense hasn't looked great this year either. So I say don't get Deshaun Watson just yet.
Sean, it's funny how things turn because remember Sam Darnold, he started off playing well, and now it's like, damn, we look at it now, and Carolina's like, maybe we got to roll the dice on another quarterback. Do you feel like, let's say there's a competition between Carolina and the Dolphins, which would be a better fit for Deshaun Watson, Sean?
Well, Deshaun Watson, it's reported that he said he'd rather go to Miami. You know what I mean? I forget, I had a brain for where Clemson is, but yeah, it's been reported he'd rather go to Miami rather than Carolina. But I mean, the better fit I can see still Miami, just because an old teammate of Will Fuller's there, you know what I mean? Brian Flores, I don't know if he might be in a hot seat. We know how coaches do the first couple of years, end up getting fired. It's because they didn't make the playoffs or whatever it is. So Brian Flores is still there. I think he's a decent coach. Having Deshaun Watson come along, if they end up pulling that plug, I mean, I can see Miami. AFC East, it'll be a good battle between Mac Jones, Josh Allen, Deshaun Watson, Zach Wilson, you know what I mean? In that division, NFC South, you got Brady, Ryan, Winston for now, and things like that. But I would lean more towards the Miami Dolphins, just really because I think if Deshaun Watson said, if it was any team, who'd rather choose them, and they've been more in the trading talks a little bit more than the Carolina Panthers as well, even though Carolina's been rumored.
Slade, real quickly, which one's a better option for him, the Carolina Panthers or the Miami Dolphins?
I like the Panthers more, especially from a from an organization standpoint, because their last few draft picks from a defensive standpoint have really hit. I just like their progression a little bit more. They feel a little bit more relevant. And I think once they get Christian McCaffrey back, if he can ever stay healthy, gosh dang, they can get better. But they do have to fill some pieces on that offensive line. But I like their pieces just a little bit more than Miami, and I like the organization and the way that they, have been performing the last couple of years.
We have a question in the comments, and Sean, you kind of brought up a little bit. Dave, appreciate you always watching. Love all the comments. I'm reading it. A lot of great stuff and valid points. He says the elephant in the room is that Coach Flores is in some trouble. I believe so, too, because to me, this Dolphins team is underperforming. This team should at least be at 500 right now. I wouldn't be surprised if he gets fired. I'm not going to lie. I personally think, and I don't know how – obviously not around the team or not in those conversations of do you want Watson or not. But I believe I'm leaning towards Coach Flores wanting that move to happen. I don't really believe he believes in Tua, man. It doesn't sound real. It doesn't sound like there's any type of commitment. There's no heart behind it, in my opinion. I think he can't wait for that trade to happen. If he lasts this season and they make the move in the offseason, I think he's a happy man. He's going to be speaking with a different tone because he's like, okay, I have a quarterback, supposedly a defense, and two high-paid corners, and a first-round pick back there as well, too. I think he's happy. So we'll see. Slade, is Flores on the hot seat?
Absolutely. I think I hate it because I loved him last year, and I loved him as a coach for that first stint. I thought he was really kind of overcoming some stuff, and I liked kind of his culture that it felt like he was building. But there's a price to pay for complacency and remaining stagnant in the NFL. And this is Miami. This is a place that had the big three in the Heat. This is a place that had, those iconic Hurricane teams at the University of Miami. This is a team that had Dan Marino. This is a big city. They want success, and they don't believe in staying stagnant. They're a high-paced, high-moving city. So there's a price to pay for being stagnant and not showing success. And, Brian Flores is going to have to pay that price if he doesn't show some life in that team and life and, success.
Sean, you talked about it a little bit. If, let's say, this team wins 4 games, is he gone?
I think the possibility of him leaving is high, too. Them going 10-6 last year was kind of a surprise, and they had success with Fitzpatrick and Tua. So, we understand what happened last year. We had the COVID season, not really a full off season. So you have a full off season with these guys now, second-year quarterback in Tua Tagovailoa, and you only won 4 to 5 games. I think I would like to see him get one more year, but at the same time, I want to be surprised if they let him go. So, kind of leaning towards that.
Awesome. Let's talk about one of the elite teams in the NFC, and a lot of teams are talking about them potentially going to the Super Bowl, the Rams. Shoot, where's the love for the Rams? The Rams only have 1 loss. Matthew Stafford, he just defeated his old team. I'm sure he feels more valuable, right? That they haven't won a game since he's left. He's feeling really good about himself. Look, he has 19 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, quarterback rating of 116, over 2,000 passing yards. Would you consider Stafford the MVP right now? Is he maybe budding top 3, top 2-ish range? Slade, is it convincing so far?
There's so many good players out there. It's hard for me to say he's up there with, Tom Brady, Derrick Henry, and Kyler Murray. In my opinion, they're kind of the front runners, kind of separating themselves a little bit. But Matt Stafford obviously adding so much to that Rams team, and especially, showing the value of having that star quarterback. This Rams team wasn't a team that needed Superman at quarterback. They had a great roster. They had a great defense. They didn't need Superman, but Matt Stafford has come in and he's been just enough of that Superman to, take them to the next level, give them that extra juice, that extra component that they needed to be dynamic. He found his go-to guy in Cooper Kupp. I love their connection right now. Cooper Kupp is just so gritty. His motor just never turns off. I love that guy. But Matt Stafford, he's always been talented, but it's been on display now. And he finally is like, hey, my talent leads to success if you put the right pieces around me and give me competent coaching. So Matt Stafford definitely up there with some of the best players in the league right now. Am I ready to put him in that next level of being the most valuable? No, because I think his team is still so good without him. being so dynamic. I think a lot of these other players, they rely on their team, especially Derrick Henry. Nobody relies on a player more than the Titans rely on Derrick Henry. So I'm not ready to put him at the most valuable player in the league right now, but most talented and most successful, absolutely.
Sean, the Rams are 6-1. Matthew Stafford, 19 touchdown passes, 4 picks. We talked about it. I thought this is his window this year and next year to become a champion, maybe push that resume towards the Hall of Fame. Some people think, hey, if he had better teams, now he's on that better team. What's your thoughts on Matthew Stafford potentially win the MVP? And maybe your overall thoughts on the Rams?
Well, no, definitely. I mean, I feel like as far as Matthew Stafford being an MVP consideration, he's still having a great season, just pretty much like Slade said. But for him to be the MVP, I don't really see that right now. I mean, 19 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, still, very good. Big having another 5 touchdown performance like he did earlier in the season, the first couple games where he was really, blowing up teams with this incredible arm. Remember the first game against the Bears on Sunday night? Maybe I could put him back in there. But before I even mention Matthew Stafford, I'll mention Dak Prescott before Matthew Stafford, to be honest. And he's definitely going to get the comeback player of the year. Dak, that's already sealed and delivered, if he continues to stay healthy. So, but Matthew Stafford, I mean, he's definitely an upgraded version of, for quarterback for the Los Angeles Rams, because this team still went to the Super Bowl with Jared Goff, and that was his best season. I didn't think Jared Goff I didn't think he was horrible his rookie season, but of course he played with Jeff Fisher. Sean McVay got there. He looked comparable. He looked kind of like a Matt Ryan a little bit, young guy, had a decent sized arm, and he was continuing to get better. In his last couple of seasons, he regressed. So of course having Matthew Stafford is definitely an upgraded version. So he's definitely, I believe, the reason why this Los Angeles Rams team is I feel like Super Bowl favorites, if you want to say, the top 2 or 3 teams in the NFC, even though they were really good last year. But this year, they definitely have a strong stamp. It's the Rams, Bucks, Cowboys, my top. Well, got Arizona Cardinals, Slay. I can't forget about them, obviously.
So many teams in the NFC.
Yeah. So, I mean, Stafford, MVP, no. Is he in the list, though? Yes.
And look, people might say this is crazy, too, but to me, Cooper Kupp, man, he has the most 100-yard games this year. He has 4 of them. Most touchdowns in the league as a receiver, most receiving yards. He needs some love too. This Matthew Stafford, Cooper Kupp, this 1-2 combination, one of the most fun duos to watch in the league, man. Quarterback wide receiver duo, maybe the best in the league right now. With those they just seem like they're just on the same page. Cooper Kupp is an outstanding receiver, and he's in his own zone right now. He's the best receiver in the league right now. Right now. Yeah. And to me, he's not going to win the MVP, obviously, quarterback award, just like Derrick Henry, King Henry, whichever people want to refer him to. But, shoot, he's up there. He's up there. Cooper Kupp, I'm just really impressed by what he's able to do. But the NFC, it's just so loaded. You guys talk about Arizona, Dallas, Tampa Bay. It loaded with talent. Remember, even Seattle, they're having some issues, but what happens when Russ comes back? Even the Saints. Y'all throw the Saints in. Jameis Winston, right?
Green Bay.
He's looking all right at times. Trey Bass says Derrick Henry is the best player in the NFL right now. Shoot, it's hard to disagree with that, right? It's kind of hard. But let's go to another contender. In the Arizona Cardinals, they are 7-0. They beat everybody in front of them. Kyler Murray, are we saying right now he's the favorite to win the MVP? Slade, you got to give your team some credit this week, right? You guys are outstanding, 7-0.
I know. I feel like I'm always the one dogging on the Cardinals on here. I love him to death, and I love Kyler Murray, and I love what he's doing. He's so dynamic. I mean, just it must break your heart as a defensive coordinator, doing everything right, getting the perfect pass rush, having good coverage, and then that dude runs around for 10 seconds and then finds an open DeAndre Hopkins 15 yards down the field, throws it across his body, and gets it all the way there without anybody touching him. That's so frustrating. If I was another team's fan, I'd be so frustrated watching that. But he is just so fun to watch, so dynamic. And as like you said, the MVP has turned into a quarterback award. That's why I think a lot of it, he might run away with it because we don't want to see the same guy get it in Tom Brady, and we don't want to give it to anybody else besides the quarterback. That's just kind of how what the MVP has turned into. I still, like I said, I love Derrick Henry, and I love what he's doing. And I like the idea of a non-quarterback getting it just because there's so many great quarterbacks in the NFL, and you kind of think about plugging and replacing what different quarterbacks could do with other teams. And I think a lot of quarterbacks can have a lot of success in a lot of different situations, but can everybody do what Derrick Henry does on the Titans? I don't think so. But Kyler Murray, obviously, so dynamic, and if they continue to have success and continue steamrolling people, it's going to be apparent that he might run away with this. This Thursday night game is a big deal with the Packers. He's going to face a pretty good defense. Going to be a big game. The lights are going to be on him. Everybody's going to be watching. Everybody knows that he's one of the MVP front runners. So all the pressure is going to be on him. Let's see how he performs. And I think if he does, his MVP case just grows even more.
Sean, Kyler Murray, MVP. Do you see it happening?
I definitely can see it happening. I'm going to keep saying this. Once again, I said last year around this time, I said I can see the Arizona Cardinals winning the Super Bowl within the next 2 years. And then only other quarterback I said that with as well after this rookie season was Russell Wilson, and I said I could see them winning the Super Bowl within the next 2 years because of how they play the game. Both not the tallest quarterbacks, both mobile quarterbacks can, dual threat quarterbacks, obviously. But my biggest thing is moving the chains and knowing when to, when to and to not, possibly take punishment. And Kyler was banged up a little bit last year, but I believe he still finished the season. He didn't miss any games. So Kyler, he's so elusive. He looks like a Barry Sanders, a quarterback, to be honest. So when you have guys and quarterbacks who are smart enough, who has cannon arms, who doesn't really get, hurt too much. I know Russ got hurt on, it's funny. I'm going to say more of a non-contact play because, we've seen guys mess up their thumbs or their fingers like that, throwing the football and hit a helmet. So it wasn't necessarily like he got sacked or, some absurd. But the point, though, is that, I just see the transformation of Kyler Murray year in and year out. Cliff Kingsbury seems like he's getting more, he's building the chemistry as well with the offense and the team as a whole. J.J. Watt's looking like flashes of Houston J.J. Watt, and he's still staying healthy. Chandler Jones is still there, although he hasn't had a sack since week 1. But but these guys look confident. They have that swagger. They have that, they're just having fun with each other. You know what I mean? So 7-0. I think I heard a mic'd up moment. J.J. Watt was like, hey, maybe we're not getting lucky. Maybe we're just that good. You know what I mean? And you got to give them the case. That has to be the case. They're still 7-0. They're in the toughest division in the NFL. So I think the Cardinals are definitely the real deal, and they deserve to be ranked number 1 if on a power ranking scale.
There are so many great teams right now. Great points I'm seeing in the comments saying don't sleep on Aaron Rodgers. Packers 6-1. We're going to talk about the Thursday night football game. Maybe Aaron Rodgers wins it again. Don't sleep on Tom Brady. Tom Brady has 21 touchdowns, 3 picks. They're 6-1 as well. The NFC is just loaded. We're going to find out a lot soon. I can't even argue it this year. They're way better than the AFC. I don't know who's the best team in the AFC. I don't know who's the best team in the NFC. I'm giving the Cardinals the benefit of the doubt. But Thursday night football, this is definitely a game to watch. I mean, wow. You got 2 of the best teams in the league going at it. Slade, let me get your early predictions. It's Monday, but tell us what's going to happen Thursday when these 2 teams match up.
This is going to sound biased, and I know that we are buying into the hype right now. I hate buying into the hype. I love this team's mentality. Every week they get on there and they keep trying to tell people not to buy into the hype and that it's 1-0 mentality, and everybody can say that in front of a mic, in front of reporters. We're a 1-0 mentality. I hope they really are truly buying into that. I think that new veteran presence that Steve Keim has bought in has made a huge deal. But going with the prediction, the Packers, I'm not downgrading them. They are a great team. Aaron Rodgers, I hate that guy. He always makes it a huge games and always picks on my Cardinals. The stupid Hail Marys always get to us. Anyways, they do not have Devontae Adams. He came out on COVID reserve today. He's not going to be able to play. Jair Alexander, it's going to be his final game on IR. So you're losing 2 of your big players right there. Crucial whenever you're playing a team like the Cardinals that's kind of white hot. And it's going to be so dynamic on from an offense ability. You needed that shutdown corner to at least take away one piece. But whenever it comes to the Packers offense, they feel really reliant on Devontae Adams to be such that huge playmaker on the outside. Their wide receiving core not near as deep as the Cardinals is. And I think they're going to miss him. And I think it's going to be interesting. But they still have Aaron Rodgers and they still have Aaron Jones. I think their receivers are more than competent enough. Robert Tonyan, proven to be a pretty solid option at tight end. I think we'll do a lot from those Packers teams. I think they're going to need Aaron Rodgers to be special. They're going to need that defense to step up huge. But as of right now, I'm taking my Cardinals. I'm feeling pretty comfortable with it. I'm going to try not to get biased. I'm going to get emotional and be so into the game, and it's going to be intense. I'm going to be stressed all week, and it's probably going to ruin my whole week. I'm probably not going to study at all. But here we go. Let's go Cardinals.
Look, Cardinals right now, they're a 3.5-point favorite. I'm picking the Cardinals. Look, Isaiah Simmons, they talked about him. I remember when he got drafted, they talked about him like he was going to be the best defensive player in the world. And last year, to me, he didn't get on the field much. But this year, he's all over the football. People aren't talking enough about it. Isaiah Simmons is stepping up, looks like a hungrier player. I don't know what the heck happened in the offseason, but I love the way he's playing football. And you brought up a great point, Slade. And that's one of the main reasons why I'm picking Arizona. One, they're at home. Number two, I think they'll get that running game established early. And I also think Kyler Murray is going to outplay Aaron Rodgers. I think he's going to dominate. And I think Aaron Rodgers is going to get hit. He's going to get beat up a little bit by that Arizona defense. I could see a 28-17 game. To me, the Packers, this is the type of team they need to be in the playoffs. This is the type of team where they need to me, be at home in an NFC championship game. I think right now the Cardinals, they're hungry. I keep wanting to say maybe they're not that good. Maybe they are that good. I think Kyler Murray dominates. I think the Packers are too reliant on Adams. And he's having a heck of a year as well, like Cooper Kupp. But they go to him a lot. So I'm picking Arizona 28-17. They easily cover, for all the bettors out there, that 3.5-point favorite. They're easily going to cover that. I'm putting my money legit on the Cardinals in that one. Sean, it's Monday, but what are your thoughts on Thursday's NFC showdown between the Packers and the undefeated Cardinals?
Yeah, I kind of think a little opposite. I think, my mind is saying to go Green Bay, but I'm still leaning towards an 8-0 Cardinals after Thursday night. I just think that the Cardinals defense is going to show up this game. I mentioned J.J. Watt before. I think it's going to be more about the Cardinals defense and them stepping up. Ironically, more than Kyler Murray. I'm not saying Kyler Murray's not going to make the plays to help win the game. I think it might come down to that. But I think J.J. Watt and these guys, Byron Murphy, Budda Baker, I think they're going to end up making – it's going to be a defensive play, I believe, that helps seal the deal. I can see it. I can see Rodgers get sacked in Joe Buck's voice, and J.J. Watt picks up the fumble. Like, turnover on downs, it's overtime. The Cardinals are winning the game. I don't know why. I can just see it, or I just feel it. So I think the Cardinals end up winning the game 28-25, I'm going to say. But, again, it's definitely a 50-50 game. The Green Bay Packers, they won 6 in a row ever since getting beat week 1 against the New Orleans Saints. But I got the Cardinals, man. I just think they're on the road. They're confident. They're having fun. And Green Bay kind of, they've had their close games. They've been kind of lucky, I should say, getting out of close games too. Even though Arizona barely won against Minnesota, they're kicking missing a field goal. I think it was a Minnesota team. But the point is, though, I got Arizona winning, man, and proving to 8-0. So, yeah.
I think James Conner, too. Look at this game against Houston, 10 carries, 64 yards, and a score. The week before that, 16 carries, 71 yards. It smells like a 100-yard game to me. I think he's going to get in the end zone. I think he's going to dominate. I wouldn't be surprised if him and Murray get close to that 100-yard range. I just feel like that Thursday night's going to be a coming out party for the Cardinals. I think they're the hungrier team. I think a lot of people are doubting them. And I don't think people are taking that 3.5-point favorite seriously. That's why I think the Cardinals are going to absolutely dominate the Packers. Not saying they're way better than the Packers. Again, like Gary Yates said in the comments, not Gary Yates, excuse me, Trey Bass said in the comments, if Arizona wins the regular season, Aaron Rodgers won't lose in the playoffs. We'll get to that. But I believe what Gary Yates saying, which she says the Cardinals defense will smother Aaron Rodgers. I'm with that. I think you're speaking facts. Any last notes on this game Thursday that we need to watch out for that maybe people aren't looking, might not pay attention on Thursday to? Any last thoughts or maybe a player we need to watch out for?
With what Sean was saying earlier, with that mic'd up bit of when J.J. Watt was saying, well, maybe we're just that damn good. I feel like this Cardinals team is kind of pissed. Why is nobody giving them the credit? Why is everybody kind of still throwing all these teams above them and saying, it's still they haven't really had that game yet. This is that game. This is the game they've been waiting to kind of have that showing out party. They say they're going through a 1-0 mentality every week. This is a veteran-led team. Cliff Kingsbury is looking for redemption. Everybody was kind of having doubts on him as a head coach. This team feels pissed, and I love it. And I'm ready to see it happen. I think that defensive line is going to get after him. J.J. Watt is looking unbelievable. I can't wait to see him come out and get in Aaron Rodgers' face. I think the D-line and the pass rush of Arizona gets more in face of Aaron Rodgers than the Green Bay Packers can get in the face of Kyler Murray and contain him. And I think that's ultimately the difference.
Look, guys, I want to wrap it up with this. Kyle Pitts, and he was a lot of people hyping him up, said he was the unicorn. Look, some of his numbers started off kind of bad against Philly, 4 catches, 31 yards. Again, still a rook. Had some games against Washington, 4 catches, 50 yards. Wasn't really a factor. But against the Jets, 9 catches, $119, and a touchdown score. And then Miami, he has that crazy, and everybody's seen it all over national TV, that crazy one-handed catch, just like, give me that. Made it look easy. 7 catches, $163. Should we start saying, and kind of like what we're saying about Jamar Chase, that maybe this guy is special and he's a unicorn? Or do we need to pump the brakes and say, well, it was the Jets, it was Miami? How are you feeling about Kyle Pitts? I'll start with you, Sean. How are you feeling about him?
I like it now, man. I mean, like you said, it just takes a game at a time. Anytime you're a rookie coming to the NFL, of course, it's a transition. I don't think every guy just comes on board the first game ever in their career, they ball out. So, Kyle Pitts, he looks comfortable. And like we said before in the Flying High podcast, well, guys, check out every Wednesday at 7 p.m. Kyle Pitts, he looks comfortable though, man, and he's catching the ball. I wasn't really sure about his hands, to be honest, coming out. But I definitely love him now, and that one-handed catch was brilliant, and the coolest thing about that is it was in stride. It wasn't like he bobbled it. He caught it. He beat the guy deep, and he caught it with one hand. And he's scoring as well. So I like it as a Falcons fan. I don't get to say this much, but I mean, it was tough seeing Julio Jones leave, but at the same time, I mean, they ended up drafting this guy to replace him. To be honest, I mean that's why they were okay with letting Julio go. So with Kyle Pitts, I like it, man, and I just want him to keep balling out, man.
Slade, your thoughts on Kyle Pitts? 2 straight 100-yard games. Do you feel like you see a unicorn in him? Are you buying into the hype, or is it still a little too early?
I see the unicorn in the way that they're using him. I think we kind of always saw the ability, and we're like, man, this guy has crazy potential. But potential is the worst word if you don't know how to use it. So finally, it kind of feels like they're picking up, knowing how to use him. And the Falcons won 3 out of their last 4. Maybe this is the juice they needed, was Kyle Pitts kind of stepping up and playing. I think I was kind of sitting there, especially as a fantasy owner of Kyle Pitts, going, all right, I've seen the ability, but where's the production? Is he not getting open, or are they not, setting him up for success? And whether it's, Arthur Smith drawing a better plays to get him open and try to find some success in that way, or maybe it's Matt Ryan, finding them in open space, or Kyle Pitts just finding, new ways to get open. But 7 catches for 163 yards last week. Like you said, 2 back-to-back 100-yard games. That's the first rookie tight end to do that consecutively since 1970. Mike Ditka, the last guy to do it. Insane that he was able to do that in 1970 as a tight end, and whenever they didn't utilize passing. Insane. Hats off to Mike Ditka for owning that record for forever. Can't believe we haven't had that. But the fact that we haven't had that proves that Kyle Pitts may be a unicorn. He is just an insane NFL body. It's crazy that guys like that can impress you with how many great bodies and athletes there are in the NFL. But Kyle Pitts, definitely one of those amazing frames. He's got crazy speed for how big he is. I think he'll kind of put on even more muscle and even more frame as he goes throughout the NFL. But I love the way they're using him right now. It's almost as if he's kind of another receiver there in the slot that they can utilize. I expect him to kind of take on that Darren Waller role a little bit for the Falcons, but I love that they have Calvin Ridley to complement him. I think that Russell Gage is another backup or secondary wide receiver. I think they're kind of getting great pieces, and I think the Falcons, could still stay in that conversation and just remain relevant. I love that they're kind of making a push now You hate to see an organization die out, and the Falcons hopefully finding some success to build on. After Matt Ryan, inevitably that has to come to an end sometime, but he's still got some juice left in him as he's showing. And I love that he found another connection in Kyle Pitts. I love Kyle Pitts. I think, he's on the spurt of being a unicorn. I'm not ready to call him that just yet, but I've loved what I've seen these last 2 weeks for sure.
Absolutely. Now, and with this, it looks like we're getting the triple threat, kind of like what you talked about. We're getting pretty good quarterback play, really good quarterback play from Matt Ryan. We're getting really good play from Kyle Pitts. We're seeing Arthur Smith get more comfortable with the play calling and trusting his players. So I think all three of those guys deserve credit. Excuse me. Let me say four. Also, that Falcons offensive line, Matt Ryan, when he has a clean pocket, he's making big-time throws. Now, the competition is going to go up a little bit, and we're going to see what this Falcons team's really about. But so the last 3 out of 4 weeks, W's, that's all that matters. You put them in front, you win. Great last-minute drive. Matt Ryan, he found Kyle Pitts. That chemistry. I'm loving the chemistry so far. We'll see if they keep that energy against teams like the Panthers, the Saints, Tampa Bay, which they didn't fare well against the first time. So we'll see. But Kyle Pitts, really impressive. That one-handed, that catch was just crazy. I just keep watching it over and over again. But the Falcons, if you're a Falcons fan, you should be happy, but not too happy and delusional, thinking, okay, we're there just because we beat Miami and the Jets, which both teams right now are a mess. But overall, the Falcons are back to 500, and a win is a win. So I look at it like that. And Kyle Pitts, the last couple of weeks, he has looked like a unicorn. And shout out to Mike Ditka. Don't know how he was able to get that record back in the day where run. It's all about the run. So shout out to him for being one of the GOATs of the game. Any last thoughts or questions coming up into this following week, guys? Any comments? Nope.
Cardinals 1-0 this week. Let's go.
All right, we'll see. That's a big game. Packers, Cardinals, 3.5-point favorites. Gotta thank Slade and Sean. Appreciate you guys coming on. Oh, shoot, we went a little bit longer today. Guys did their thing. This is the final play on the Just Good Network. We are presented by Your Future Media and the Level 1 Game Room.
Thanks for having me.
Great job, guys.